In our rapid-fire world, there is a tendency, I think, to see things as incident-based instead of a pattern of experiences or activity. And so if you were an advocate that was relatively new to working with older individuals who might be experiencing this series of traumatic events over a lifespan, what would you say to them as far as how such an individual may present him or herself, or perhaps indicators that an advocate could look for?
I think a starting place, especially if you're a new advocate, and even well-seasoned advocates don't have the luxury of knowing everyone's history, right? We all have our histories, and not knowing actually can be a good starting place for learning about that person. I think a good first step for especially new advocates in understanding trauma and its impact over someone's lifespan, even if we don't know the specifics, is beginning to build a relationship with that person. So for example, if you're working with someone who seems distracted, seems as if whatever you offer to them is not something that they feel comfortable with, or they're unsure of maybe what your motivations are. They're concerned that if they agree to do something, that it'll end up harming them more in the long run, take away their independence, take away their decision-making ability that others so often want to take over. So part of what new advocates need to do is, first of all, start with the assumption that any older victim that you're working with likely has in their lifespan incidences where they've been hurt and harmed. Now, whether everything from their past is, you know, sexual assault, sexual abuse, domestic violence, those kinds of things, we don't know that. We don't have the luxury of knowing that. But for new advocates, it's important basically to learn first and foremost, I'm glad you're here. You want to say that. I'm glad you're here. You know, I'd like to take the opportunity to get to know you a little more, learn, you know, what it is that brought you here today, because it's through building that relationship that that new advocate can learn more about what that person's life experiences are. The other piece to consider is some individuals throughout their lives have experienced tremendous harm, and yet they don't have the kind of trauma, the kind of responses that maybe someone else who just had one incident of severe interpersonal violence may exhibit. So you can't assume. You just have to basically start out listening to and responding to, in very specific ways, that individual, what it is they want to share about their story, learn from them through questions, and listening, not to confirm what you think you know. You listen openly to learn about that person. And from that dialogue, you can begin together to figure out what is it that we can do together to keep you on your journey, your healing journey.